Hello everyone, my name is Genesis Pereyra, and this is my experimental project for psychology of death and dying. So for my introduction, I want to kind of go over a little bit about each person I interviewed. I have interviewed three different people on the unfortunate loss of a loved one. I have asked each the same series of questions to evaluate their themes, aspects, and takeaways. The first interviewee is my friend. Um, she she lost her brother-in-law, who she would see kind of constantly every day. So I felt like I could ask her certain questions, and she will be able to kind of respond. The second interviewee is my aunt who lost her mother, which is my grandmother. She's still in a little. It's still kind of recent, most for the most part, but I feel that she has a different personality that I could learn a little bit more about. The third interviewee is a family friend who lost her son, um, and I feel like she was ready to talk more about it, and I really loved her story. So, some key takeaways that I learned from each person, from the interviewee one, which was my best friend. She made me seem as if she made it seem to always live your life to the fullest, but with precaution. She lost her brother-in-law in a freak accident. Um, and he was very young. I believe he was 19 or 20 years old, and she's always like always been living in a like let's be careful but always have fun kind of way. You know what I mean? And then as for the interview too, my aunt who lost her mother, she her interview like was mainly more about to always love your loved ones, even when they are on vacation. So my grandmother, she was in Mexico, and 3 days before she had her flight to come back, she became ill, and started to get symptoms of her liver failure, and that's how she passed away. And for the interview three, because it was her son, the takeaways that I got from her was little things do not matter. Keep living and never let your kids forget that you love them. One thing that I did learn from her is that she always regretted always telling him, no, don't do this, no, don't do that. Always be safe. But she feels as if she shouldn't have been so strict on him and just let him live his life. The theme of the interviewee one with my best friend, I feel like she was more already in the acceptance stage. She it had she was torn and shocked about the whole situation, but now she's more openly about it. Talks more about him in a good way. Like she laughs about memories that she's had with him and stuff like that. So I feel like she's in acceptance, and she just accepts the fact that he's gone now. From the interview too with my aunt, um, she her interview was more denial. She feels betrayed. Um, she feels as if everything was because of her. She just feels betrayed, and it was kind of a darker interview. For the interview three with the family friend, she for a while always has she always had hope. Her son actually died from an infection in his heart due to I don't know what it's called, but I think it was a machine that he had in his heart to help him, and he got an infection from it. So she always felt distrusted about doctors, hospitals, anybody who are there just that are supposed to be helping. So she was kind of just in denial as well. So the themes were kind of denial, distrust, and hope for her. key contrasts that emerged when comparing the interviews. There were a few differences between each one of them. From the first one with my best friend, when she would answer her questions, they were more straightforward. She answered them with great certainty. I enjoyed talking about their loved one. Hers was actually 6 years ago, and she lost her brother-in-law. She was, as soon as I would ask questions, she was ready. Like she was more openly to talk about the situation. And I feel as if she, like how I said, she was in acceptance of the situation that occurred. Well, the interview too with my aunt, she was unaware of certain details of the funeral, as well as the mood and stuff like that from the funeral. She was very angry. She as soon as I started with the first question, she did cry, which I mean it's acceptable. But she still feels that pain as if it was yesterday. However, it was 4 years ago. It is still pretty recent though, due to the fact that she does still wear black literally every day. We tell her it's not good for her. We tried talking to her, but she did take care of my grandma for a very long time. And she was always the one there taking care of her. But she's still in the denial phase, but she will eventually get there. For the interview 3, the family friend, she knew every detail about his loss, like leading up to the loss, and everything that happened, except for details about the funeral as well. She stated that she was in her own little bubble, where she didn't even know what was really surrounding her. She was just kind of moving around from place to place that she needed to be at. And that lasted about 3 years, she said, and then she did seek out help from counseling. She did therapy, because she does have a little girl. She had a little girl at the time, and she wasn't really mentally and physically there for her, so she did have to reach out for help to become more stable for her daughter. She did eventually start crying once we started talking about what she learned about the loss. She was still hurt, and she didn't really know what to say for anybody who did lose a child. She lost her son 8 years ago, but to her, it's still literally like yesterday. Some key aspects that I personally learned from each person. From my best friend, I learned that it is important to remember and share memories with others in laughter. To keep their memories alive, she says that it's very important to continue to act as if like his actions and his memories are still there. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what she does. She talks about him as if he was still kind of around, but we all know the actual situation that occurred. For the interview too with my aunt, I did learn that anger will only consume your body. So an aspect that I also learned was to remember to love and surround yourself with loved ones. It is important to continue to love, because I mean, death is literally around us all the time. And we have to remember that once we are with other people, we become more alive. And then for the interview 3, I did learn that a good way to cope with a loss is to keep a journal and write down all of your emotions. She said that really did help her a lot, just so that she could also remember what was going on at the time, and to kind of let it out as well. She did say to seek help because there is family around you that are still in need of your presence. The overall takeaways that I personally learned through this experience is that death is inevitable. However, the way you experience the after loss is up to you. It is very important to live and love while you are still alive. This experience was pretty hard, having to hear people cope, how they responded to a loss, and it was pretty hard, But the way that you respond to it, I feel, is what really shows who you are and how you develop a loss like that. So how my perspectives of death, dying, and bereavement were influenced as a result of our interviews. Um, Death is a scary thing to think about. This experience has taught me that death comes suddenly and sometimes without any warning. Um, death death is very a hard topic to talk about. Um, but I learned that through talking about it, through sharing memories, being able to even talk about it, has really gave me a great perspective, and I feel that sharing will actually help you overcome the pain that you're feeling, and I've learned new things that I could incorporate into my own experience when losing someone. Like I lost my grandmother 4 years ago, but I feel that I was more in acceptance due to the fact that she was in a lot of pain for a long time, for many years, and I feel that she's at peace. So I feel like I kind of coped with it a little bit better, just because I knew her suffering, and I knew that God was doing her a favor. As my conclusion, I feel that everything happens for a reason. The way you respond to it will create meaning for you. I feel that with the whole death and dying and doing the funeral, the viewings, and everything, the church masses and everything, I feel like it creates a special memory for you of your loved ones, and I feel that creates meaning for you because, like I said, my grandmother was in a lot of pain for a long time, and I felt that was her coming to a rest, because she was in so much pain for so long, and I feel that we were laying her to bed, for one final time, and it was very memorable for me as well as my mom, because we felt more at peace because she wasn't suffering so much. But death and dying is a very hard topic to talk about, and I really love the experience to be able to listen to people and know their perspectives and everything, and get new takeaways of their loss. And I feel that hopefully one day I can help many people in the future with their unfortunate losses. But thank you for listening. This is my experimental project.